This plant is Rose Sally Holmes. It is one of my favorite plants. It is a very, very heavy blooming climbing rose with beautiful foliage, disease and pest free. I use this on the front of my house here and has been in for about 5 years. And every spring I do a major pruning on it to encourage new growth and a heavy bloom cycle, which you saw at the beginning of this frame. Roses bloom on new growth, and one of the ways I know it's time to give this its heavy pruning is this new growth starting to show up at the end of winter. Because it's starting to show up, now I know that I can prune this back and it will recover quickly and refoliate itself and then rotate into a heavy bloom. You can see at the top of the plant all this new growth that's starting to generate. And what I don't want is to have all that new growth shove itself up into the eave line of the house. Because it blooms on new growth, I want to lower the whole canopy of this plant. And also, over the course of the previous year, the foliage started to push itself away from the house. So I want to squeeze it back towards the house by trimming it and flattening it. My tools for this job are a pair of extended reach pruning shears made by ARS, and a regular pair of pruning shears and heavy leather gloves to keep the thorns from getting into my hands. I start by really going after the side of the plant so that I can work my way in towards the middle without getting stuck by the thorns, and reducing a lot of the heavy branches in the middle and top of the plant. Once I've worked my way through that, then I use the extended reach pruning shears to cut some of the higher branches and also to grab the branches and pull them away from the wall so that I don't have to handle them. This tool is particularly handy during the rest of the year when you're deadheading this same plant and you're trying to reach some of the higher branches, and it allows you to reach up there, cut them off, and pull them out of the plant without ever having to get close to the plant. You can see now that I've finished pruning this that a lot of the older branches that were the original strong branches that I trained are pulled to the side, and you can see how other branches radiate upward. Climbing roses bloom on vertical branches, so you want to encourage some of the young branches to go horizontal so that when they sprout new ones they're pointed upwards, and those will produce most of your blooms. This shows how the rose was originally trained. I use wire with an eye screw, and they are pulled horizontally so that as the new canes come up from the bottom of the plant, they are put behind the wire, and this keeps them from flopping away from the house. It's a very simple and invisible way to train these roses, and takes very little time to do. Once you've done this heavy pruning, now it's time to give this plant a good fertilizing as recommended in the fertilizing schedule. And make sure that you spread it around the entire base of the plant, in this case about 8 feet long by 2 feet wide. That's where all the roots are, and that's how it's going to be able to feed and produce this amazing bloom that you see here in the photo.